It's another day, another episode of Lawfare, but we still must contend with the present of garbage. I did learn something, actually, something important about the future of garbage, but not from Eric Adams. He's a moron. This was in the New York Times. The reason I've been talking about this is because I watched that. Let's see if we can better position this microphone. Oops. I watched that Eric Adams press conference, and he kept talking about the future of garbage, but it never really got to the point of what it was. And he could have just shown that little New York Times video there, and everything would have been fine. But he's a dummy. I mean, the point is, terrible communicator. It's an okay idea to have new garbage containers and some garbage truck that will pick it up. I don't see how that's very futuristic. I remember as a kid in the 80s, they had garbage trucks with the pick up the thing. But that's not the focus of today. The future of garbage can be dealt with in the future. I haven't seen any of those future garbage containers around, so I don't know what the hell Eric Adams is waiting for in terms of the rollout. Someone did a roll your own Maybach there. I wanted to come down and see what the hell is going on with this Trump trial. What is the Hall of Lumieres? I don't know if I've seen that before. Hall des Lumieres. Is that something to do with, what does it say there? Immersive Art Center. Maybe it is the Lumiere brothers. I should look into that. Immersive Art Center. Origins of whiskey. Huh. That would seem to appeal to an immersive experience. Rare whiskey tasting. Interesting. That's definitely immersive. You're going to get immersed in booze. But we're down here. I realized after I made the thumbnail that today's trial is not Engoron trying to kick Trump out of New York, right? This is to do with Stormy Daniels. It's unbelievable. And they're like, oh, the hush money. So he has a non-disclosure agreement with Stormy Daniels. Now, I believe both of them have said that there was no sexual relationship, right? I don't know what the nature of this non-disclosure agreement is, but basically when you want to get into a non-disclosure agreement with somebody, it's because you don't want to talk about something, and all these lawsuits about it could be calculated to get you to talk about it. And so they're like, ooh, hush money. Well, okay. You know who else loves non-disclosure agreements? Is the Department of Justice and all of these jackasses that with the gag orders and everything. They really want to be able to tightly control what you can talk about. It's so obvious. Talking about this is almost stupid because basically if there's evidence that will exonerate you, such as a video of a dud. Are we getting a lot of wind noise? Yeah, see, because I put this outside the jacket. I might have to adjust that. But like if you have a video of a January 6th bomb not going off, that would be exculpatory evidence. And they just don't want you to ever see that. If you have an email address that is perhaps owned by George's brother, and you can establish that through subpoena to, I don't know, some internet service provider, they won't let you do that. Okay, so we're down at the courthouse. Now this is, again, it's New York State Superior Court, so it's not the district court, and I guess we'll have probably video of this from inside the court. I wasn't going to go crazy coming down here. I don't know. I mean, this whole Lawfare thing, it's just crazier each day, right? Yesterday we were in Georgia with Fani Willis. And now we're back in New York. Did people watch that Fani Willis testimony? Holy crap. it was like the Real Housewives of Waffle House or something, right? Oh, is that a Z06? No. Still cool. Fannie Willis, did people realize that she was previously a judge? I think that's why she sort of acted like she was running the show. Yeah, it's too windy. I gotta reposition the microphone. Should be better. Yeah. Oh, way better. Anyway, Fannie Willis, can you imagine you find yourself crossways with some Georgia highway patrol person or law enforcement for whatever reason, and then you have your day in court and the judge is Fannie Willis. Now, obviously, she's not a judge anymore. She's the district attorney. But it's interesting. I think we should have these types of open public trials for any moron who wants to become district attorney, because I mean, look at how stupid Fannie Willis is. She's in there like, this is my money, bitch. I'm stacking paper. I never paid him more than, I don't know, $2,500 in cash. It ain't no thing. You're telling me how to pay my bills. Like, what the hell does she think this is? She's literally, they could have moved that trial to the Waffle House. Fannie Willis is ready to like take out one tit and start throwing chairs. Right? That was unhinged. I think there's no doubt that she's going to be removed from this. They shouldn't, I mean, how is she a lawyer? At one point there was a thing where she was saying like, I'm not a hostile witness. And I think, I'm not a lawyer, so this could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure when you ask the judge if you can treat the person as a hostile witness, that's not meaning that you're having a hostile attitude. It's like I think it's got to do with you're a witness for the opposing party, but this part isn't cross-examination. It's like a new question. That could be totally wrong, but there's some technical, being a hostile witness doesn't mean what Fannie Willis thinks it means, and she's stupid. And then, I mean, I paid him in cash. What? And then the boyfriend is paying for everything on his corporate card. So on the one hand, he says it's a partnership. So all the money goes into the partnership and he's not paid this money. But then at the same time, whether he's, dining out with hoes or buying a office photocopier, that goes on the corporate card, and at the end of the year, he just gives it all to the accountant to sort it out. What are you talking about? Who on earth would do that? That costs a mint to have your accountant do all that. Is he really doing that? It just seems so stupid. The other thing is, the lawyer would say, do you have the receipts? Now, where the hell is Trump? I thought there was a whole big Trump thing going on today, no? Maybe over there. They said to Nathan Wade, do you have the receipt for something? And he was like, no, I don't have any receipts. And like, okay. Then later in the thing, when he's talking about how he gives all of his stuff to his accountant, they said, well, what do you give him? And they said, that's the credit card statements. And she says, okay, so we want to talk about receipts or statements, like getting into the semantics of what is a record of you buying something. I mean, it was ridiculous. I think these people are used to lying to extremely dumb, whoever is the target of the lie, and they have a very low threshold for producing a believable story. Because that was some stupid lying going on there. And Fannie Willis, they asked her, like, where did you get the money? And she said something like blood, sweat, and tears. What? I can't believe that the judge didn't yell at her more. She was saying and doing certain things like, the only man that ever paid for my stuff is my daddy. Frankly, if you say one thing that's not a direct answer to whatever it is they're talking to you about, the judge usually yells at you. That's my experience. This was like the Fannie Willis show. I must be mistaken. I thought there was some big thing going on here, but there's nobody here. How, See, there's so many Trump lawfare trials going on, you can barely even know when there is or isn't one. Is that a satellite truck over there? Yeah. And there's one too. I mean, I guess are they always here? Because it's maybe I'm just too early. Strange. Oh, it's just another day, another, Trump indictment. Who cares? It's not even news anymore. I must have something wrong. I thought, wasn't this to the Alvin Bragg case where it's election fraud because he paid Stormy Daniels? Think about that for a second. A non-disclosure agreement with somebody that he did a television show with, which the non-disclosure agreement could have been directly related to the television show and revealed something about the production of the show that they don't want revealed, or that perhaps Trump is separately contractually bound not to reveal, or who the hell knows what's going on there. Number one thing is, I do believe both of them have said there was no sexual relationship, so the fact that there's an NDA, we don't know what it's about. But the idea is they're saying that by Michael Cohen paying her, that was an in-kind contribution to the campaign, and by paying her to hush, it was helping his campaign. So this was an illegal campaign contribution, and that was election interference. But Fannie Willis taking 600 grand to pay this stupidest guy anybody's ever seen to bang her and take her to Belize. And didn't he say that he spends 1% of his time actually being a lawyer or something ridiculous? They said so many things that seemed like they couldn't possibly want those things to be said. Oh no, did I lose signal? There's a cop station here using radio stuff. Okay, it's back. Don't want to get thrown off the broadcast. Whoa. The future of garbage is to hose it off. I guess this is a construction site, not garbage. Maybe you gotta wet it to dig it up. I don't know that much about construction. So entering into some private civil arrangement. By the way, you could get into an NDA with anybody for any reason at all. It's just a civil contract between two people. But the point is, paying the hooker, who even cares what Stormy Daniels says? She's a porn star. She's not the district attorney, or Fannie Willis could run for governor of Georgia if she wanted to. She's a political figure, and so her paying this other guy who she clearly has a personal relationship, that's not election interference, but paying the stripper is. I just don't understand how the thinking works. Actually, that's not true. I do. I think I'm maybe less surprised by some of this stuff than other people because I've been subjected to it here for 7 years. And this is what we've seen all along. They just, whatever you think is evidence, no matter how tangible it is, no matter how undeniable it is, they just say, no, that's not evidence. See, it reminds me, if people saw that video where I went to the 10th precinct and Chandler Castro, the smoothie king, was there. This was maybe the day after or 2 or 3 days. No, that was after I ran into Ibrahim, Lieutenant Ibrahim up at Central Park. And the lieutenant said, come in and we're going to do a report. And I went there and Chandler Castro was there, and I had the photo on my phone with the red fingerprint marks on my neck. And I said, hey, I want you to look at this. This is evidence of me getting strangled. And it was like a baby, when somebody's trying to feed a baby carrots or something it doesn't like, and it's close its mouth and turn away and close its eyes and pretend it's not there. The smoothie king was There is no evidence. There was no assault. Closing his eyes, turning his head away. He doesn't want this to exist. Like Fannie Willis. She had those binders, and she said, it's a lie. She was standing there, or maybe she was seated, but she's on the witness stand waving this crap around, yelling at the lawyer, it's a lie. I don't know if she's watching Perry Mason or something, but that is not the way court goes when I've been in there. I can't really believe that. It was literally like some episode of like the Fannie Willis show. I'll tell you what, if they had every court case on camera, then it would be popular. People would want to watch it. There's crazy stuff going on, particularly when you get a dunce like Fannie Willis in there. But you see, I mean, look at this. When we start to really scrutinize some of these things up close, what would happen if you started asking some of these difficult questions of Eric Adams? Like, you know, where'd you get that Fendi scarf? What? Now, wait a minute. Didn't we see that logo? JG So Hotel. That was a bus. Didn't we see a... Yeah, JG Charter. That was it. It was the bus. What the hell is this? Do you work for this JG thing? Do you work here? Weed smoking spitter in the street. Do you work at this JG So Hotel? Mumbling, weed smoking, rude asshole who's spitting in the street? You work here, huh? So you're one of these people who's bringing migrants into the city? Ah, so now you're trying to assault me by flicking things at me? You have one arm, motherfucker. If I decide to defend myself, you're at a loss. Are you from another country? What? What'd you say? My friend?
You can replay it and listen to yourself.
Where are you from, you fucking son of a bitch? You come from another country to this city to disrespect people, break the law? Did you break your hand getting in a fight? You look like a motherfucker a lot of people want to punch.
You should listen to yourself.
Yeah, you should go fuck yourself. You're one of these European cunts who thinks he's a citizen of the world and has the right to come here and tell us what to do. You get some fucking dentistry, you piece of shit. Oh, I have to listen to myself. So this is the kind of shit that's coming into the city here. We have motherfuckers standing in the streets, smoking weed, spitting, stupid asshole. So that JG Charter, what is that? That is some low-rent piece of crap bringing low-rent jerks like that guy to the city. I started out polite. Just asked him, do you know what this is? Do you work here? No, he could have said. Where was that guy from? Denmark, Germany? Can anybody recognize that accent? Assholistan? How stupid do you have to be? One arm? Just... Anyway. Flicking, burning things at people? What is going on these days? People are out of their minds. I wonder in Texas, if somebody flicks a lit cigarette at you, can you pull out a gun and shoot them? I don't know. These are all questions of law. But back to Lawfare. I mean, look at what's going on. We see when these cases are put under pressure, they don't survive because no legitimate attorney, no legitimate prosecutor. What's going on there? Got a leak sprung. Apartment coming in. You don't worry about that itching. It's probably nothing. Maybe it's sleeping next to the future of garbage that is making that guy itch. It's just terrible. These people who come to New York disrespect the streets, disrespect the people. That's what makes me sick about these, NGOs where they, we need to apply European law. Go stay in Europe. There you can enjoy your, what a rude asshole that guy was. Unbelievable. So I don't know what the hell is going on with Trump. I guess we'll find out. Interesting developments in the world of lawfare. For me, we've had a telephonic hearing scheduled in the Indiana case. I don't know what's going to happen with the New York case. That's George's brother with the Indiana case and the New York case. I've filed what I hope will work, a motion to consolidate is this a Raptor R? I think it is. Right? Because that's the supercharger. Let's see, you can tell by the red R. I guess it's not. It's just a Raptor regular. I don't know, maybe people are more Raptor expert than me. But I filed this motion to consolidate the New York case into the Indiana case, and I think it was pretty strong. I don't know. I think that often, and then the motions fail. Remember, I'm not an attorney, so nothing I ever say is legal advice. But basically, it was supposed to respond with a motion to dismiss, but he's bringing the same lawsuit basically in every different place, so I have to respond to or deal with the same nonsense time and time again, and you're not supposed to do that. So I was looking, why can't I just consolidate this case with the others the way he consolidated the Michigan case into New York? But it actually isn't the way that he did that. His consolidation of Michigan into New York was a trick. Because again, he sued Multimedia System Design Inc. He wants me to keep having to pay these lawyers because he knows you can't get a lawyer involved for less than $5,000 or $10,000. And once they get the retainer, that's it, you're done. So he's wasting money, $5,000, $10,000 at a time, or that's his goal at least. But I have figured that out, luckily, by the second or third time he attempted it. And he wasn't able to serve Multimedia System Design Inc., DBA, Crowdsource the Truth, because it doesn't exist. So he was quite tricky. The New York court allowed him to merge that case in, but they seem to have taken my view in that he was getting all upset that it removed Multimedia System Design, and for a while he was trying to get it back in. It's unclear what's going on with that, but that should not be in there. And so what I'm attempting to do now is to move this consolidated case, which is Swigert v. Goodman in New York, to Indiana.
Cleaning, sir.
And they didn't say if they would or wouldn't, but they just scheduled a hearing for March 7th. So I guess we'll be on the phone with George's brother March 7th. But he's been cooking up something, I would think. He's been underground for a while. But when we see these things like, Fannie Willis getting all pissed off about what a little hooker she is, I don't think they planned that. That wasn't part of the plan. So we're going to have to see what happens tonight with whatever was supposed to be going on, I thought, down there. I thought I heard that Trump was, I don't know, very difficult to keep track. But we've got John Cullen tonight at 7:30. He's got an interesting topic tonight. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre. I'll tell you the truth, I don't think I know really anything about that, other than, wasn't it in Chicago and to do with Al Capone? I think it was. Shot up a bunch of people. We'll find out about that. But let's see, what else do we have for Lawfare? Obviously, people are arguing on the news about, you know, if they kick out Fani Willis, it doesn't change the fact that, you know, Trump still needs to be charged with RICO. It's funny, this is the same crap that the Lawfare practitioners against me are constantly trying to say that I'm doing RICO. I'm doing a YouTube show. It's absurd. I tell you what, when you listen to Fani Willis talking about paying out $2,500 in cash and stacking paper at her different condos and whatnot, and how she became a judge and the district attorney without apparently knowing anything, sounds like she might be involved in a RICO. The other thing they were arguing about was when exactly she started banging Nathan, what's his name? And she's like, well, no, I hired him and then I started banging him. It seems like such a stupid thing to argue about. It reminds me of when we were making Julia X. And, you know, before we started shooting, we went there a few weeks and I had like an office, you know, in whatever this building was. And they come in with all these pictures and like, well, who do you want to hire to be the stand-in for the lead actress? And I was like, ooh, hire this girl. And then guess what happened? So it just doesn't matter in the Fani Willis case if they, you know, before or after. The fact is she was having sex with this guy, paying a ton of money to him. The two of them don't know what the hell they're doing. Seems pretty obvious to me that they're lying about if it was paid back or not paid back, and Fanny's got all this cash around, and you can't have the receipts because she's had this cash for more than 10 years. Now listen, I get it that there are definitely, I don't like having a lot of cash around, and in fact, if I was dealing with a lawyer or some kind of like 3D person or whatever, some kind of professional, like where somebody's gonna pay me, who's giving somebody $2,500 in cash if it's not like a drug deal or something? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And then Nathan Wade is like, oh, I got all kinds of clients paying me in cash. It's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Because also, didn't they say he was a personal injury attorney? And so if that's the case, most of those guys that I've dealt with, or at least tried to, those are the ones that deal in contingency, because mostly what they do, or at least the ones that I dealt with, is that they tend to aggregate a large number of lower income clients who can't really afford lawyers, but are still having these slip and fall and getting crashed into by taxis, and they have legitimate claims. And because these broke people are making claims against rich companies, these personal injury attorneys take their cases on contingency. So what client would be paying a large amount in cash? I mean, okay, maybe somebody hands you $500 as a retainer, but that's like put it in your wallet and, you know, spend it at restaurants or something. But who is I mean, attorneys, you're not finding an attorney who's taking a retainer less than $10,000. And so you're telling me people come in and just giving him $10,000 in cash? That just none of anything they said made any kind of sense. You have to be stupid to believe what they say. And now they're like, well, I don't know, maybe they committed perjury. I'm just wondering if anything they said was true. They try to act like perjury is some kind of big deal, make you sign this thing under penalty of perjury. Nobody is ever getting that penalty, it doesn't seem. Well, oh no, Peter Navarro maybe, or somebody like that.
Oh, I got a t-shirt.
Probably put the wrong height on his driver's license and get him on perjury. Yeah, and so, okay, so they were saying that maybe what they'll do is remove Fanny,
Like when other
and you know, nothing else will happen to her. Apparently, you can steal money. And also, how many friggin' vacations did they go on? She's saying she didn't even like meet this guy until 2021 or after 2021, they could not recollect any going to a cabin in 2021 or whatever. They couldn't recollect. But, so you're telling me, and 2024 just started and she's been on trial half the time. So you're telling me in 2 years or 3 years, how many vacations did they go on? Belize? Where did they say? They went on a cruise? Then they went to Belize? Then they went to Napa Valley? That's like more vacations than I've been on in the past 20 years. Aren't they supposed to be working for the district attorney's office? Don't they have things to do? What is going on with any of these people? Is this Elon Musk? It's two. So, a little disappointing down there at the court. It's a weird day. It was supposed to be 40 degrees, but it feels kind of hot, actually. Honey brains. I don't really know what that is. People know about honey brains. Now, see, the other thing that's interesting is this guy Navalny has died in jail. And right away they said, oh, Putin killed him. I mean, wait a minute. First of all, how do you come to that conclusion? What evidence? How can you make a statement like that without evidence? And people say, well, he's just killed everybody. So obviously if somebody dies, it must have been Putin. And he's Putin's fiercest critic. Is he though? I mean, do you ever see him on the news? He was not that. I remember when we spoke to John Mark Dugan about this guy, he was involved. It's annoying when that happens. Dugan. No, not there. Mess with. I have a solution for this, but it's coming in the mail. This is my latest iteration of this problem, and it's evolved over time. I think I've got it now. Hopefully, it comes back. Okay. So we're talking about Dugan. What was I talking about? Oh man, totally forgot. See that? Oh, Navalny, right. So yeah, Dugan was saying that Navalny was involved in some sort of fraud with Sephora, I think, and the mail, the post office. So it had a trial and everything, and they found him guilty and he went to jail. What I detect with Navalny is that he seems like another one of these FBI adjacent Russian, anti-Putin Russian FBI adjacent people who they want you to think is some kind of big political deal and Putin's number one enemy, but he just seems to be kind of like a common criminal, maybe not much different than somebody like Felix Sater. And we know that they love to create secret relationships with people like Felix Sater and then have them testify before Robert Mueller and his committee and the House Select Permanent Committee on Intelligence, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. That was Felix Sater. So how do we know that they haven't done exactly the same thing with Navalny? And isn't it Matt Taibbi doing this reporting about 26 names on a list of people who were to be bumped by intelligence services? And they had a meeting January 5th, 2017, just 7 days after Ben Wittes sends an email to James Comey about his foreign intelligence associate, Matt Tate, that was used to bump Charles. I am extremely confident that Charles is going to be one of the 26 people Matt Taibbi is talking about. And then people were saying to me, oh, Dan Bongino had a list on his show. Go look it up. Please do not ever think that you're presenting some kind of evidence if you say that. First of all, where did Dan Bongino get that list? Did he even tell you? Because if he didn't, it wasn't published in the Matt Taibbi article. So for somebody to do that, and for that to be a credible representation, in my opinion, he would have to say, oh, you know, Matt Taibbi, Mike Schellenberger, they had this report earlier. I'm having a guest later who was the source to that report, and here he is, and here's where we got the list, here's how we know these 26 names. I think that's just 26 names that Dan Bongino assembled, because the first thing that came to my mind when I heard that story was, who is on that list? And when I read the article and didn't see the list, I started thinking, well, who might be on that list? And I think obviously Carter Page comes to mind. George Papadopoulos comes to mind. A lot of people we could think of. Corsi, Roger Stone. They seemed interested in getting to all these guys. Charles was on that list. And everything that's happening with this email from Ben Wittes to James Comey, that James Comey then sends to Andrew McCabe and Bill Priestep and Peter Strzok. Ginger Frankenstein says Peter Strzok is trying to get him to get Hillary Clinton to bribe some international leader or something like that. And then when I say to the Ginger Frankenstein, why would they need to do that if the FBI was serious about prosecuting Hillary Clinton? There is a ton of public domain information already out there. Here's Wegmans, this is new. That's a fancy sort of counter to Whole Foods, I think. I do believe I've been in Wegmans maybe in like Virginia. Next Gen Portraits, snot on iPhone. Is that snot coming out of the kids now? Probably say shot on iPhone. But there is snot on that iPhone after that photo shoot. So there we go, basically. Lost my train of thought again, but talking about lawfare against Trump, lawfare against me. I think they're losing ground. I really do. They're scrambling for sure. Oh, Navalny, right? That's what we were talking about. Yeah. So I mean, Navalny strikes me as an asset of theirs, and I mean, this is a friendly warning for people to accept or reject at their discretion. But I think that anybody who goes down the dangerous and unwise road of becoming some kind of FBI asset or cooperating with these stupid lawfare intelligence things. What is this building? That looks new in Chinese. It says something hot pot. But anybody who involves themselves in the misguided effort of becoming some kind of government intelligence asset, you all right?
Yes, I'm okay. Are you all right?
Why are you stopping and
I don't know.
interacting with me? What the hell was I just talking about? Navalny, right. If you're going to go down the misguided road of becoming an FBI intelligence asset, I think frequently with these people there comes a time where the FBI scratches their head and realizes, oh, you know what? This plan's going to work much better if we kill that guy or send him to jail for the rest of his life or whatever. Look at Lee Harvey Oswald. A lot of people say he was standing on the first floor in the doorway, the stairwell of the book depository. There's even a photograph and a photogrammetric study of the person standing there that very convincingly appears to be Lee Harvey Oswald, but it's been said that he put it together in his mind, that he realized that he was about to be the fall guy for this operation, and that when he left the book depository, he went to that boarding house, and then the police car was outside, honked I think once or twice, and he ran outside. It's been speculated that the police officer driving that car, whose name escapes me at this moment, who was shot later, that guy was part of a task force from the Dallas police, either with the FBI or the CIA, and that he was driving Lee Harvey Oswald to meet a contact at the Texas Theater, the movie theater. So he's sitting in there, and that's like an intelligence thing, right? Go to the Texas Theater, sit in the third seat in the third row, and when somebody comes in and sits down next to you, tell them you missed the preview or whatever. And if the guy says, I've seen this film already, or they have some little exchange that lets you know that this is your contact, and then he says, okay, and then you leave the movie theater with that guy and they exfiltrate you to wherever. This is like, secret spy crap. But apparently they said, okay, it's time to 86 Oswald, and the police went and arrested him at the movie theater, and everybody knows what happens after that. So my point is, Navalny, if he's working with the FBI, there comes a time where they say, hey, you're going to be doing dangerous stuff, and if you get arrested, don't worry, just lay low, we'll get to you as soon as we can, and we'll get you out of there. And then if you find yourself in jail, and you've done what they needed you to do, and you become a loose end who knows about their plan that they no longer have a need for, you're trying to tell me that the FBI or some gang in Ukraine or some gang in Queens or somebody in Cyprus, or maybe it is Putin, it could be anybody. The point is, the notion that an organized crime gang would have reach into a prison anywhere in the world, I don't think is too far off the mark. I think there are a lot of gangs that's their specialty, is assassinating people in prison, and anybody for any reason, like any anti-Putin criminal, which is basically kind of most of the FBI, could motivate somebody in prison to kill that guy Navalny. Isn't it weird that it happens just right after the Tucker Carlson interview, where perhaps people are contemplating Putin's viewpoint and maybe thinking, hey, it's a bad idea to send more money to Ukraine and keep this Ukraine war going, and then, hey, kill Navalny and push this narrative that Putin's crazy and we need to send more money to Ukraine to destroy Ukraine. So what's with the future of garbage? I mean, if we had 2 plastic bins here instead of this pile, that would be good, but those bins don't look large enough to hold even a modest garbage pile. And that's not the biggest garbage pile that you would see. I haven't seen a single one of those future garbage trucks. So good rollout, Eric Adams. I saw an article that said that people are annoyed with the $5,000 Apple goggles, sending them back due to headaches. I don't know if people want to wear that on their face. I think when they can make it like this, where it's integrated into your sunglasses or your regular glasses, and they literally look like any style, basically, of regular glasses that you would get, then people will want it. But as soon as it is a helmet Cole, you could have, isn't that who Joe Biden is taking meetings with? Virtual reality helmet Cole. Well, good news is no one is going absolutely crazy right now. I wonder why that is. It's not that cold. You would think maniacs would be out. I'm surprised that Best Buy remains in business. I guess that was P.C. Richards at Circuit City when that first came around. Yeah, I mean, I remember where some of this stuff was new. Somehow it feels more integrated into the city than like Hudson Yards and other stuff. You know, Charles frequently says that it has the feel of these things in Singapore and whatever, where some international architect is given carte blanche, as the case may be. It's like that asshole smoking his joint outside the hotel giving me the finger. It's just like a European FU in the middle of New York City. I don't know. Europe, how could they, what do they say about Putin asking about the pipeline getting destroyed? I mean, that's a pretty important question. That guy wasn't worth my time, but he really deserved, somebody should have straightened that dunce out. I don't know, we'll see what's gonna happen. Yeah, this is what I was gonna say before. They talk about chatter, and I didn't really know what they meant, you know, chatter before 9/11. Or maybe I did mention this. But when you watch these Twitter accounts from Andrew Weissman and Norm Eisen and whatever, yeah, this is what I wanted to say. So they are the ones, Schiff and Adam Kinzinger and what's his name, Jared Moskowitz, Daniel Goldman. They're all on the same script, right? They're like, oh, Navalny, and this is, Putin did this, he's terrible. Gotta stop him. Yeah, that's better. I think that'll be better. And that's the chatter, right? When you see all these guys talking about Putin definitely killed Navalny and we have no evidence whatsoever, that's a little bit of a tell that they're lying, right? And that's also chatter, because they are chattering about it, and we know that those guys are lawfare practitioners. You know, it's almost like they have maybe some sort of organized program for disseminating the information, and it kind of like, you know, filters through a network. Makes sense that that's how they would do it. Ox Hollow Farm. If you had a hollow ox on your farm, I don't know why you would have that. How much are eggs? And chicken sausage? $8 for a dozen. Yeah. Are you guys having any issues with avian flu? No? They said avian flu was making some chicken products more expensive.
I've only done it twice.
Those guys have no avian flu. I don't think they would want to tell you if they did. John Cohen knows a lot about avian flu. Seems a little thin today at the farmer's market. Doesn't it? Maybe everybody went to the Trump trial, but then we would have seen them there. See, I don't know, something about beekeeping seems interesting to me. I don't know, I guess you'd get stung a lot, but you get that big suit with the smoke. I don't know, it seems interesting, and I like honey. And then, I don't know, if you had a garden, would you maybe want bees to pollinate stuff? Ooh, Pet Co. or whatever, Pet Supply, what was this thing called? That went out. Definitely a lot of bike delivery people in business, but all these retail places going out. I wonder if Paragon will stay. That's kind of a New York icon. That guy had some stupid stuff to say. That's the other new thing I've been seeing lately, is these bike delivery dudes smoking cigarettes as they bike around. I think you can only do that with the electric bike. This roast place went out. Not good if you want something roasted. Yeah, anyway, Navalny was in jail. I don't know that he was really a political opponent for Putin. They sell him as that in the United States. Oh, look at the nastiness of that dead rat. Not so nice. Rats. This girl's admiring the dead rat. I mean, it's not like he was running for anything. The guy was in jail for like 20 years for fraud. And they're like, oh, he's a political this and that. I don't think so. I think he's a fraudster. They don't seem to care about the political prisoners from January 6th. I'm just becoming so nauseated with everything. I don't even like to think about this in terms of the left or Democrats. This is like unhinged people who think that we can live in a world of lies where the Fannie Willises and the Valerie Capronis and the Andrew Weissmans and the Norm Isons of the world can decide that they don't like your tweeting style and they don't like your hairstyle and they don't like your real estate business and they don't like your YouTube channel and you better roll it up and get the fuck out of here just because they don't like you. So this is what I've been saying all along. I mean, I'm on the same program that Trump is on and I don't like it. Got to get George's brother knocked out of the box in these court cases. I took a big risk in New York. I hope what I did was correct. I mean, I always think it is, but then there have now been many times where I thought I did something that was definitely going to work, and it didn't. As a matter of fact, almost every time. So I'm at a loss when it comes to that, and it's part of the reason why I advise people not to take any legal advice from me, because things that I think are good ideas don't seem to work that well. Now, the other thing that's happening is there's an appeal in the Second Circuit of the NATAS versus MSD. And I mean, this is in many ways kind of the master case. You know, Adam Sharp, he initiated that case. That's the case where they will not allow me to access this super secret confidential email. And I mean, in many ways, you know, the damage that case needed to do, it's done. The people, the Lawfare practitioners, they don't care. They got what they wanted. There was no Crowdsource the Truth broadcasting during that time that they were trying to get the Hunter Biden laptop hidden from everybody and then spend time after the election planting all the bullshit about Hammer and scorecards. See, they didn't want my loud channel counteracting all that nonsense. Remember when I posted that video of my phone call with General McInerney, where I was asking him about Dennis Montgomery and the faulty evidence surrounding Hammer and scorecard, he didn't have a good answer. He hung up and behaved like somebody who had been busted lying. The future of garbage is put it in a garbage can. That's perfect, Eric Adams. But he hung up the phone immediately. And remember, that got me kicked off of InfoWars. Actually, people probably don't remember that because I've held back from saying anything about that for a long time out of respect for Alex Jones and the help that he's, I mean, I wouldn't say help, but he's been generous with me personally. And he's been nice to me, so I'm not trying to trash him or anything. But it's just a fact that Crowdsource the Truth was banned from posting anything. And not allowed to put things on banned.video. And I don't know why, but I do see General Michael Flynn on there. And I don't understand why people don't want to know, you know, this guy's basically stealing money the same way the Clintons are. So what kind of hero is that? And how can we look the other way on that if we're going to try and prosecute, you know, people who are breaking the law? something else occurred to me. People who were watching the First Amendment Forum the other day, and if you're not a sponsor, please become one. You can still see it. Go to odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, or subscribestar.com, or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. The asshole from New Jersey trying to kill everybody. But now I forgot. Oh yeah, First Amendment Forum. We were talking with Charles. Right, we found Jigo City. Right? Do people remember Jigo City? If you didn't see that episode, get on there and check that out. Jigo City was a company started by Tony Bobulinski. That there was jigocity.com and jigocity.com.au. And .com.au was apparently a Groupon type clone where you could, purchase coupons for discounts at restaurants and stuff. But the strange thing is jigocity.com was a Chinese website that appeared to be focused on massage parlors and sex. And Jigo City, that's associated with Tony Bobulinski, gets bought by Penthouse Media AG, which is weird because I would think that Penthouse might be interested in a Chinese website associated with sex. Their brand is associated with, sex and, nude magazines and stuff. So having a website that deals with that makes sense. I don't understand why Penthouse would want to buy a website in Australia about getting restaurant discounts in Los Angeles, but whatever, none of it makes sense. The point is they got two businesses with essentially the same name. One that's kind of screwy, and one that you could talk about with Tucker Carlson and say, oh yeah, I'm an internet entrepreneur. I created something similar to Groupon called Jigo City that we sold to a national media brand. That sounds good. We have a website that deals with Chinese hookers. A little bit less impressive for most people. But anyway, it appears that that's what these screwballs are involved with. I don't really know what that means, and I'm not trying to bash. Some people will be like, oh, don't say anything bad about Tony Bobulinski because he is gonna, bring down Hunter Biden. He's the whistleblower because he told us he's the Crackhead Inc. whistleblower. This is the Freemasonic Hall, the whole building. But the point is, how do we know he's a whistleblower? And wouldn't the Bidens have found a way to either sue him or kill him or get him investigated by somebody? Or they seem to have a way of really jamming up people that they don't like. I don't know what has happened to Bobulinski. I just don't think I trust him. And then we found that whole Jigo City. But the point is, a while ago, Charles had identified this quote from Hunter Biden where Hunter Biden had said that he intended to recreate the Clinton Foundation, but without the nonprofit aspect. And I think we just found what he's talking about. What he meant was the Clintons have the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton Global Initiative and the Bill Clinton Presidential Foundation and the William Jefferson Clinton Foundation, and you don't know which is which. Checks are flying hither and yon to this one or that, and it just, adds to the confusion. And remember I don't even remember who it was that said it, but James Comer likes to remind us of it, that they said there's so many accounts or whatever, they're never going to figure out where this all goes. So I think that's what Hunter Biden was talking about. We're going to create these identity duplexed corporations, Jigo City and Gigocity, .au, and then one will be dealing with porno and hookers, and you could get Fannie Willis in charge of that, and the other will be what? Nothing. I don't know. Did Jigo City? Did anybody ever actually buy a coupon from Jigo City? Daily discounts is what they were. It's just the whole thing is so screwy. It's like the future of garbage. I wonder, did Eric Adams, probably somebody got money for that future of garbage. Maybe Eric Adams owns some of the company making those little, I don't know, is anybody impressed by that in 2024? What about if those garbage bins were controlled by robots? Or how about hiring migrants to do something with the garbage? Other than making it. Peloton went out of business. So that's, I guess, bad for them. And here's more. The future of garbage is that there will be more. And mint bags. That's the past of garbage. This is terrible. I mean, come on, this is 23rd Street in Manhattan. If that idiot had a plan 3 weeks ago, why don't they have them rolled out here? And why don't we have some kind of plan to get these motherfucking bicycles off the sidewalk? Well, there we go. We didn't learn too much about Trump lawfare, but we got to rail about other lawfare. Oh yeah, this is pretty interesting. This is a new weed store, and that is one of maybe like 9 or 10 that actually have the license from New York State. And they told me that one of the components is, so first of all, there's a thing, it's like Google Earth for weed called Weed Maps, and it only puts the legal ones there. So that, you know, there's very few in New York, but that one is there. And they said that one of the components is they can only sell weed that's grown in New York. And that's ridiculous because until like last year, nobody could legally grow weed in New York. So you really don't have, you know, farmers and land. I don't know that much about it, but it's like growing anything. I mean, imagine if they said, okay, you can have liquor stores, but you can only sell wine from vineyards in Newark. The quality of the product might suffer. And the market would suffer because anybody who knows anything about that product is not going to want to buy it. And I mean, you're just not helping to stop this illicit black market by making the legal product dramatically substandard. It's just more evidence that the people making these decisions are so stupid. They'll spend an hour explaining something that takes 30 seconds, and then 3 weeks later, they won't even have it rolled out on one of the most major streets in the city. The future of garbage is just, there's going to be more of it, and this truck will leak all over the place, more than the FBI. This is cookie garbage. Garbage. We have some sort of cookie press event and a ton of garbage. I don't want to talk to these cookie people. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to tune in tonight. John Cullen investigates the Valentine's Day massacre. Join us on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, and subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Thanks for watching, everybody.